Hey y'all, it's Miss A. Today we're going to be quickly reviewing how to multiply and divide rational numbers. So we're going to be multiplying and dividing fractions and decimals. This is what Unit 3 was all about. We're just going to quickly review it before you take your test tomorrow. Number 1 says Noah is growing a pumpkin for the fall festival. The pumpkin weighed 7.35 pounds at the beginning of October. At the end of November, the pumpkin weighed 3.5 times the weight in October. How many pounds did the pumpkin weigh at the end of November? So we know that the pumpkin started at 7.35 pounds. And then it says at the end of November, it weighed 3.5 times. So times tells me I have to multiply by 3.5. And that will give me my answer. Okay, but our problem here is the fact that we have a decimal and we have a mixed number. So that before we can multiply these, we have to make them both the same form. So we're going to make them both into decimals. This is already in decimal form. All I have to do is change 3.5. Remember, when you're thinking of the half, think of $1. So 3.5 would be 3.5 because it'd be 0.50, like 50 cents. But you don't need the 0 at the end. So these are the two numbers I need to multiply. 7.35 times 3.5. Make sure do not line up your decimals because it is pointless and it's making the problem longer and harder on yourself. Just line up your numbers and then worry about the decimal at the end. Alright, we get 25. 15 plus 2 makes 17. 35 plus 1 makes 36. Cross them off, put a placeholder. Remember lattice method if you struggle with this method. 3 times 5 is 15. 9 plus 1 is 10. 21 plus 1 makes 22. We get 5. We get 12. We get 7, 5, and 2. And then now we need to count our decimal places. I have 1, 2 after the decimal here, and 1 here, so I'm going to move it 3 times. Starting from the back. 1, 2, 3. So we get that the pumpkin weighed 25.725, and this was in pounds, lbs. Alright, so multiplying a fraction and a decimal, we have to convert the fraction into a decimal first before we multiply. If you did not know that 1/2 was 0.5, you would typo, divide to get the decimal. But 1/2 is a benchmark that you need to know and memorize. 1/2 is always going to be 0.5. All right, the next one. Tina's cat weighs 2.6 kilograms. 2.6 kilograms. Her dog weighs 1.47 times as much as her cat. So again, times. What is the weight of her dog? So what is the weight of her dog? So we know that it's 2.6. This is straightforward. 2.6 times 1.47. Literally tells me times. Alright, so now all I gotta do is just line up my numbers. Again, not my decimal points. And I can multiply. We get 42. 24 plus 4 makes 28. 6 plus 2 makes 8. Cross everything off. Put your placeholder. 2 times 7 is 14. That is 8 plus 1 makes 9. And then 2. Then we get 3,822, but now we need to count our decimal places. So in our first number, we've got 2 numbers past the decimal, and then we have 1. So 2 and 1 make 3, starting at the back. 1, 2, 3. And we see that it weighs 3.822, and this was kilograms, correct? Remember, multiplying decimals is just multiplying numbers and then counting your decimal places at the end. Alright, number 3 says what is the value of the expression? So we have a division problem here with fractions. So remember, when we're dividing, we don't actually divide. We need to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to keep, change, and then flip. We're going to keep the 3/8. We're going to change the division to multiplication, And then we're going to flip the 4/5 to the reciprocal of 5/4. And now that it's multiplying, I can just go straight across. 3 times 5 is 15. And then 8 times 4 is 32. And that's it. That one can't be simplified. All right, number 4, Christy is baking cookies. The recipe calls for 3/4 a cup of sugar. However, she only wants to make 1/3 of the recipe. How much sugar should Christy use to bake the cookies? So we know how much she needs for the entire recipe, which is 3/4, but we just want to make 1/3 of the recipe. So because it says 1/3 of the recipe, we're going to multiply it. Whenever you want to find a fraction of something, you just multiply by the fraction that you're wanting. So in this case, we're going to take what we know of 3/4, and we're going to multiply it by what we need, which is 1/3. Multiplying fractions, I do not keep change flip, I just multiply straight across. So 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 3 is 12. Now remember, whenever we're simplifying fractions, I do suggest that you use your multiplication chart if you need the extra help. This one does have a common factor of 3, but if you cannot see that, we're going to go to our chart and we're going to find 3 and 12 in the same column. So 3 reduces to 1 and 12 reduces to 4. So 1/4 is my simplified fraction. All right, number 5. Which of the following is equivalent to 9/10 divided by 4/5? First of all, I don't like this divide by, so I'm going to rewrite it. 9/10 divided by 4/5. And if you look at our answer choices, which we have here, none of them is an actual answer. We just want to know which multiplication problem is equivalent to it. So all we have to do is keep change flip, because it is a division problem. We have to do that, multiply by the reciprocal. And we're going to keep the 9/10, change the division multiplication, and flip that second fraction to its reciprocal of 5/4. And we're looking for 9/10 times 5/4, which is not there. Close, but not quite. No, no, and there we go. Correct answer was C. All right, and then the very last one. A jumbo bag of Takis is 23.45 ounces. I need to put the Takis into snack bags that each have 0.35 ounces. How many bags will this make? So on this one, you have to think about what you're actually doing. I'm taking a big bag of Takis and I'm putting them into individual little bags. So I'm taking big and I'm dividing it into smaller bags. So this is a division problem. We've got 23.45 ounces. We're putting them into snack bags that each have 0.35, and we want to know how many bags this is going to make. So we're going to take the total and we're going to divide by how many we want in each bag. All right, so dividing decimals is a little bit tricky. We can't just drag the decimal up and forget about it. This number cannot be a decimal, my divisor. If my divisor is a decimal, I need to multiply it by a factor of 10 until it's a whole number. And we can do that by simply moving the decimal once and twice to the right. Moving it 2 times here, I have to do the same exact thing on this side in order to keep it equivalent. If I move it 3 times, I move it 3 times. If I move it once, I move it once. You have to keep it equal. So now this decimal moved to the very end. We have 23.45. I'm going to put the decimal just in case I need it. And now I'm not dividing by this decimal anymore. I'm dividing by 35. Now, one thing I do suggest here, anytime you have a division problem where you don't know the multiples of this very easily, I would highly suggest you go over to the side and go ahead and do a couple multiples so you have those to work with. I know 35 times 1. Okay, let's do 35 times 2, 35 times 3, 35 times 4, and let's do 35 times 5, and let's see if that does me any good to start off. We'll see. All right, I get 10 6 plus 1 makes 7. 15. 9 plus 1 makes 10. 20. 12. 14. And then 25. 15. 16. 17. Alright, so let's see if that helps me any. Can 35 go into 2? No. Can 35 go into 23? No. Can it go into 234? Yes. Now look here. Oh man, I went a little bit too short. So I think I'm going to be able to skip a couple. Let's go up to 35 times 7. Let's skip to that. 35, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh man, it was just a little bit too big. So we know it has to be 6. So 35 times 6 is 30, 18, 19, 20, 21, and we get 210. It's okay to guess and check. There's nothing wrong with guessing and checking. If you're wrong, then you go up or down from there. All right, now we're going to subtract. We get 4. 4 minus 0 is 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. And then that's 0. So I'm going to bring down my 5. And now we're looking at how many times does 35 go into 245. And we already have it. So 35 times 7. So I put a 7. It's 245 exactly. Subtract. Get a remainder of 0. So you're done. So we can make 67 bags of Takis out of the jumbo bag. Alright guys, I know I went through this really quickly. It's what we've been doing for the last week and a half. I just wanted a quick review before you start working on some practice problems for your test tomorrow. If you have any questions, please contact me on Zoom, send me an email, or let me know here in class. Y'all have a great day, and y'all take care. Bye guys.